Good afternoon. This is Nicole Watkins. I'm the Director of Author Support here at Morgan James Publishing. And today I've got the pleasure of speaking with Tammy Sherger, author of Chasing Worthiness. And today Tammy, I want to thank you so much for taking time to just talk about your upcoming book and just the importance behind it.
Thank you for having me, Nicole.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. Why did you decide to write a book about worthiness?
I think a great question. And you know, for all of us, I think we have these moments in our life. I like to call them the aha moments where we can't go back and look at things the same way. And there was a moment, I was 53 years old. I, at that point, had lived beyond what I had ever dreamed for myself as a young girl who became a teenage mom and dropped out of high school, really had sentenced myself to a life without success, if you can imagine, at 16, because of what I believed were mistakes I had made. I had worked my way up literally from the stockroom floor to the boardroom table as a C-suite executive. And I was heading in for a performance and raise review with the CEO. And the night before, I was on the phone with my son and I was telling him my strategies because I knew I wasn't getting paid the same as a counterpart of mine. And at the end of the call, before we hung up the phone, my son said to me, "Mom, it's not that they don't value you, it's that you don't value yourself." And in that one moment, it just clicked, Nicole. And I knew, like countless other women, that I didn't believe I was worth it. And in my mind, I could clearly see that there were so many lost opportunities because I was on a constant chase for worthiness, to feel good enough and smart enough and skilled enough. And so for me, that was a defining moment that led me to where I am now as the founder of the I Am Worth It project, recognizing that when you feel worthy, anything is possible.
Wow. What an excellent start and so inspirational. So what would you say are the signs of a low worthiness tank?
So that's what I call it. Is your worthiness tank running on empty? And there's a lot of different names that we have given to not feeling good enough. We call it the imposter syndrome, you know, where we feel like a fraud. But in reality, there's signs that are very clear, of course, always in hindsight, but I like to share with other people. And number one is that you feel like you're working hard, but nobody is noticing. And when we don't have a strong sense of our worthiness or our value that we offer the world, we tend to work really hard, constantly trying to prove that we're good enough, right? And second is, especially as women, our emotions live close to the surface because we're not speaking up and asking for what we want, because inside we don't even feel like we deserve it. So why would we even ask? We're not asking for the raise, the promotion, the sale. And I can recall many a times heading into a boardroom, being the only woman in the room with feeling these emotions bubbling up and saying to myself, don't cry, because of course, then you're told you're too emotional. So if you feel like your emotions are running at the surface, you're not too emotional. That's not possible. It's because it's a sign you're not speaking up for what you deserve. And I think finally is this underlying feeling of resentment that you're not achieving what you want. You're not getting what you're working for. And I learned a valuable lesson from my mom. It was actually the last lesson I learned for her. She was 92. In the nursing home, and she started to suffer from dementia. But this particular day, it was about 10 days before she passed away, and I had brought in this sweater I had gotten her for her birthday, and she was out in the hallway, and she was clear as a bell. So that was great to see my mom there, who was always my inspiration. Makes me emotional still today talking about it. But she said to me, Tammy, you know, you have got to go out and live your own life, because my mom was all about her children, and so was I. And she said, even though I loved all of you, which she did, she gave her whole entire life, devoted it to her children and her marriage. She said, today, as I stand here today in these shoes, I have resentment because there were so many things that I wanted to do, and I never did them. And, you know, it was true because she was an excellent writer, and I found all these scraps of poems and poetry that she had written, but probably when we were in bed, when, you know, late at night. And she said to me, one day, if you live long enough, you're going to be standing in these shoes, and you don't want to feel like I do. So go after your dreams, because when you live your best life, that's actually the best gift that you can give to your children.
Wow, that is such a powerful message. And I think many of us, you know, myself as a mother of a 6-year-old, just so many things that you've said with your experience with your mom, I think rings true for a lot of us women and moms out there. So one last thing that I want to ask is what message do you really want to leave with our listeners today?
So my whole message, and the reason, as my son says, I left my cushy job, because when I went in that day and decided that I was not just going to, for the first time ever, not accept what was offered to me, but I said, no, that's not good enough. And I'm going to admit it, Nicole, I was terrified walking out thinking, oh no, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to be a bag lady, because I was coming from that place of that girl who started at $1.35 an hour. And the next day I went back in and I received more than I even asked for. And in that moment, I knew I had a destiny. And really that's my message, and why I founded the I Am Worth It project, is so that women know that they have this internal power. And when you're having these thoughts of I'm not good enough, smart enough, it's a common human experience, but it's not really you. Because you can learn to manage your way through it. I call it your brain on change, because you already are good enough. You're already smart enough, skilled enough. And when you can believe it, because that's the missing piece. That's why I always start with an internal transformation. When you can believe it, I want you to hear that it's not going to matter. You can look back at your past and maybe think, oh, I made these mistakes, but there's no mistake you could have made. And even right now today, if we're looking forward and seeing that the future looks kind of bleak, what I want to tell you is your worthiness is your key to succeeding no matter what the circumstances are, and to creating dreams that I know you all have, because I have them too. And some dreams that you can't even dream right now are out there waiting for you when you believe that you are worthy.
I love those words, Tammy. Thank you so much. I know there's going to be many watching today that are going to want to just talk with you a little bit more, learn a little bit more about this project of yours. So where's the best place that they can do that?
Head on over to my website. It's iamworthitproject.com. So I am, just like I think probably you can see my logo behind me. And there's ways to contact me there. And I would love to hear from you. The one thing we can do as women is we can rise up together. And I really believe that we can change the world for everyone, one worthy, wealthy woman at a time.
Absolutely. And just so those that are watching know, Tammy's book is available wherever books are sold. So definitely make sure you grab a copy, get connected with Tammy, and really find that inner worthiness. Tammy, thank you so much for your such powerful message today, and a good reminder for so many women out there that we are worthy. Thank you again for your time today.
That's right. Yes, you are. Thanks, Nicole.